Senator Elizabeth Warren has released a DNA test proving that she is just about as white as it is possible for a girl to be without actually becoming invisible. Warren took the test after being taunted by President Trump for falsely claiming she was part Cherokee. Now, don't misunderstand me. There's nothing at all wrong with being a white woman. Many of the Rockettes are white women. And of course, Gwyneth Paltrow is very attractive as well. But the problem for Warren, or to use her native name, Dances with Horse Manure, is that she listed herself as Native American on federal forms when she taught law school, and she repeatedly told the story of how her parents had to elope because of anti-Indian prejudice. But that story now seems to confirm Warren's native name lies like a dog, because according to even the suspect analysis of a Stanford University professor she happens to know, Warren has got so little Indian blood in her, it may just be because one of her ancestors got some on his shirt when he was killing one of them. In any case, Senator Warren, whose native name is Woman Who Would Cheat to Be President, has less Indian DNA than most white Americans and far less than what's required to claim membership in anything but the Malarkey tribe. The news media was quick to back Warren's blatant lies, running such headlines as the Boston Globe headline, quote, Warren lied about her ancestry, now we will too, unquote. The USA Today headline, quote, we hate Donald Trump, so we'll pretend to believe Warren, unquote. And of course, the New York Times headline, quote, Trump slaughters entire Indian village in our imagination, unquote. Warren herself, speaking under her native name, Walks Like a White Girl, told reporters, quote, I will fight no more forever. I go to join the great spirit in the happy hunting ground. Trump give heap big wampum or speak with forked tongue. How Kimosabe, unquote. Sounds authentic to me. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
All right, I'm back speaking as a black woman from my DNA test. Boy, you know, at this point, you get so much for subscribing to the Daily Wire that that $10 that you are clinging to, like Ebenezer Scrooge, that could be getting you so much if you just give it to us once a month, or give us $100. We'll give you the whole year. We'll give you the Leftist Tears tumbler. You can watch the Another Kingdom Season 2. You can watch that every Monday. You get it on Friday if you're not a subscriber. And you not only get to ask questions in the mailbag, you also today will get to ask questions in the conversation, which is at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. And I will be answering all your questions and making your outlook on life 100% better 50% of the time, probably. As always, this episode will be free for everyone to watch on Facebook and YouTube, but only subscribers can ask the questions. If you don't get into the conversation, ask your questions for tomorrow in the mailbag by going to dailywire.com, hitting the podcast button, hitting the Andrew Klavan podcast, hitting the mailbag. Ask them all. Ask about religion, ask about politics, ask about your personal life. My answers are guaranteed 100% correct and will change your life. For the better? As if. All right. And I know your first question, the one, just to save you from asking the obvious question, how I look so spectacular, it is because I exercise like a demon, and that is why I love Beachbody On Demand, because I can't go to the gym. I just do not have time. I'm in hotel rooms. I'm traveling. I'm always doing something. Beachbody On Demand delivers exercise programs, nutritional advice, everything you need straight to your device, okay? It's got a history of success as a company behind P90X, Insanity, 21-Day Fix. Oh, I did Insanity. I do Insanity sometimes. It is well-named Insane. It is just incredible. You can work out on your schedule. Workouts are as short as 10 minutes. They don't require extra equipment. In the time it takes you to drive and park at the gym, you could be absolutely done sitting back and just drinking heavily. Join over 1 million people currently on Beachbody On Demand. And right now, my listeners can get a special free trial membership when you text Andrew to 303030, 303030. You will get full access to this entire platform for free, all the workouts, the nutrition information, and support totally free. Again, just text Andrew to 303030, 303030. Get Beachbody On Demand. It is excellent stuff. So I didn't want to talk about any more about this Elizabeth Warren show, but this Elizabeth Warren story, but I got to talk about it because of the media, because of the way the media is doing it. And I want to just talk about I want to tell the real story here so you actually can see what is going on. You know, there's an old Latin tag, falso in uno, falsus in omnibus. If you're false in one thing, you'll be false in everything. And so as you're listening to the story, as you're hearing it on NPR, on ABC, on NBC, in the New York Times, is any left-winger asking himself, if they would lie about this, if they would twist this, if they would con me about this, what else are they conning me about? What else are they scamming me about? How much of their opinions are false? What about their movie reviews? What about their headlines? Is everything just a scam from these people? I think it is a fair question to ask when you see this, because here it is laid out right in front of you. All these headlines saying Warren confirms her Indian heritage. Warren gets her ancestry right. Oh, Donald Trump was wrong about this. Remember, this is Donald Trump. He has been kidding her, calling her Pocahontas. It's supposed to be Fauxchahontas, right? Because it's F-A-U-X. She's the fake Pocahontas. Harvard, when she was teaching there, listed her as one of their women of color. She put on federal forms that she was Native American when she taught at Penn Law School and Harvard Law School. When Trump challenged her, when she was put on the dime, because she's obviously was lying, she told this story over and over again. Her parents, it was supposed to touch you, move you, so you'd feel that Trump was being mean, to the poor Indian woman. You know, first you take her land, then you kill her tribe, you burn her teepees, and then you insult her by saying she's not really. So she would tell the story. So some wag at the Free Beacon just strung together all the time she has told this story. Here is Elizabeth Warren on different shows telling this story over and over again.
Let me tell you a little bit about my family. Let me tell you the story of my family. My mother and dad were born and raised in Oklahoma. My mom and dad were born and raised out in Oklahoma. My mother and daddy were born and raised in Oklahoma. My father fell in love with my mother when they were both still teenagers. My daddy was in his teens when he fell in love with my mother. My daddy first saw my mother when they were both teenagers. A beautiful girl who played the piano. This tall, quiet girl who played the piano. He was just head over heels over her. And he was head over heels in love with her. Head over heels. But his family was bitterly opposed to their relationship. And his family was bitterly opposed to that. But his family was bitterly opposed to their relationship because she was part Native American. Because she was part Native American. Because she was part Native American. My parents eloped. They eventually eloped. They survived the Great Depression. They survived the Dust Bowl. They survived the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. They went through a lot of hard times, a lot of knocks. They raised 3 boys, my older brothers, all of whom went off to the military. They raised my 3 brothers, all of whom headed off to the military. They hung together for 63 years. They hung together for 63 years. I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me, from our mom and our dad, what my grandmother and my grandfather told me, from our grandparents, what all my aunts and uncles told me, from all of our aunts and uncles. It's a part of who I am, and no one's ever going to take that away. It's a part of me, and nobody's going to take that part of me away.
They lied to you, Liz. They lied. You got no Indian blood. She goes out, she gets a friend to test. She doesn't even send it to 23andMe, like a reputable company. She gets a friend, and they all have to do this because they don't have a lot of Native American DNA to test it against, right? So what they tested against, they use samples from Mexico, Peru, and Colombia. So she could be a little tiny drop Aztec, maybe, but all of this is to find out that she has between 1/64 and 1/1024th of some kind of, Native North American blood, maybe, okay? Because the whole test seems bogus to me, but maybe. Let me play Matt's Idea Shop, who I follow on Twitter, who I really like. He's very funny. He put out what 1/1024th of the movie Pocahontas looks like. Here it is. That's how Indian Elizabeth Warren is at most. I mean, really, it is nonsense. Most Americans have twice as much as she does. And here is what the Cherokee Nation has to say. And I'm just setting this all up. The only reason I'm setting this all up so you can see how the press covered this. Here's what the Cherokee Nation, this is Cherokee Nation Secretary of State Chuck Hoskin Jr., a DNA test is useless to determine tribal citizenship. Current DNA tests do not even distinguish whether a person's ancestors were indigenous to North or South America. Sovereign tribal nations set their own legal requirements for citizenship, and while DNA tests can be used to determine lineage, such as paternity, to an individual, it is not evidence for tribal affiliation. Using a DNA test to lay claim to any connection to the Cherokee Nation or any tribal nation, even vaguely, is inappropriate and wrong. It makes a mockery out of DNA tests and its legitimate uses, while also dishonoring legitimate tribal governments and their citizens whose ancestors are well documented and whose heritage is proved. Senator Warren is undermining tribal interests with her continued claims of tribal heritage. This is the tribe. This is the Cherokees actually saying this, okay? So it's a complete self-own, one of the hilarious terms the internet has given us, a self-own. She has completely made herself look like an idiot. Here is a montage from our friends at Newsbusters of the networks covering this story.
Tonight, calling his bluff after relentless taunts by President Trump over Senator Elizabeth Warren's claims of Native American ancestry.
They call her Pocahontas.
Pocahontas, Pocahontas.
Warren is now answering, her campaign releasing a DNA analysis stating there is strong evidence the senator had a Native American in her family going back 6 to 10 generations. Today, President Trump was dismissive.
Senator Elizabeth Warren releasing DNA test results to back up her claims of Native American heritage.
The report indicates that Senator Warren's Native American ancestor is between 6 and 10 generations back.
They're just lying. They're just lying to defend her. And if they're lying in one thing, are they lying in everything? Is anybody who watches this asking, gee, am I being conned all the time? If you don't want to get conned, you know what you could get? You could get stamps.com. Stamps.com is the easy way to get to the post office. The post office has so many great services, but nowadays you want them in your computer, just where you have everything else is in your computer. And with stamps.com, you can access all the amazing services of the post office right from your desk 24/7 when it's convenient for you, which is a big deal to me. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package using your own computer and printer, and the mail carrier picks it up. You have no idea how much I love this thing in LA, where to get anywhere, to get to your next door neighbor, to get to your mailbox takes 20, 30 minutes because of the traffic. That's underestimating it. With this, you just click, print, mail, you're done. It could not be easier. And right now, you can use Klavan for this special offer. It includes up to $55 free postage, a digital scale, and a 4-week trial. So don't wait. Go to stamps.com. Before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Klavan. That's stamps.com. Enter Klavan, and you can put in your first letter. Just write to someone and say, how do you spell Klavan? It is Klavan. So I got to finish this story because it does go on, right? I mean, she has done so many things with this Indian about her high cheekbones, like all the Indians have. That was one thing she says. So now, one of the taunts that Trump went after her with was Trump said, well, we'll see what he said. He said, I'll give you $1 million if you take a DNA test and prove that you're an Indian, okay? So here he is talking to the reporters. Here's his reaction to this hilarious news. This is Trump out in the rain.
Senator Elizabeth Warren releasing the results of her DNA test? No, I have no. Who cares? Who cares? $1 million. I didn't say that. No, I didn't. You better read it again. Mr. President, what is your... I hope she's running for president because I think she'd be very easy. I hope that she is running. I do not think she'd be difficult at all. She'll destroy the country. She'll make our country into Venezuela. With that being said, I don't want to say bad things about her because I hope she would be one of the people that would get through the process. It's going to be a long process for the Democrats.
Okay, so the press immediately jumps on this. Oh, there's Trump lying again. He did say he would give her $1 million. Here's just a sample from Anderson Cooper, a quick one.
Well, today he's asking us not to care about an insult that he repeatedly hurled at a sitting U.S. senator, and he's asking us not to believe what we saw him say on tape in front of a crowd of thousands of people. Also late today, he tried blaming the target, saying she, not he, owes the country an apology, but we'll have more on that in a moment. Keep it honest, it's textbook gaslighting. We've talked about this before, asking people to not believe what they see and hear, challenging reality.
Textbook gaslighting because they're not telling the truth. Here is what Trump actually said.
I will give you $1 million to your favorite charity, paid for by Trump, if you take the test and it shows you're an Indian.
Trump claims that Warren used her heritage to help her get ahead.
Okay, if you take the test and it proves you're an Indian, it doesn't prove, it proves she's a white girl. That's what it proves. It is the test that says you are a white girl. It could have just come back with that. You're white. Bingo, you are white. Unless we're going to go back to the days of real bigotry when they said, well, you have a drop of black blood and you can't come in here. But even if that were the case, even if we were living under those prejudiced days, this would not suffice because no one would be able to see it or know it or tell that it was there. Trump is utterly, completely, totally right. She is utterly, completely, totally scamming you, and the networks are lying. And so what else are they lying about? Well, it's everything. It is everything they're lying about. Speaking of which, if you want to hear some truth told, it is finally time. We had to skip a week because everybody was so busy putting together another kingdom, but we've finally gotten back to the Lefties Dictionary. We are up to J. Let us find out what J is for.
J is for jihad. According to leftists, jihad is a much misunderstood concept in the West. Due to Islamophobia, many bigoted Westerners have come to fear the word jihad unnecessarily. A proper reading of the Quran reveals that jihad is a spiritual struggle during which a Muslim attempts to rise to a higher plane of consciousness by slaughtering unbelievers, raping their women, taking over their civilizations, and persecuting and oppressing them until they're all dead. Thus, to oppose jihad is to thwart the spiritual development of a religious believer. You wouldn't want to thwart someone's spiritual development, would you? Of course not. That would be wrong. There are over 150 verses concerning jihad in the Quran. Almost all of them refer to waging war against unbelievers. But it's a metaphor for spiritual struggle with a lot of severed heads and dead bodies and wailing women and so forth, but only in a metaphorical spiritual sense. In short, jihad is a religious concept, and religion is sacred. That's why it's called religion. If it weren't sacred, it would not be called religion, but something else like killing and raping people. Then you would be able to oppose it. But as long as it's called religion, you must submit to being killed and raped. That's in the Constitution. And lest any foul Jews or Christians go around feeling superior to anybody, just remember the Bible has lots of ugly things in it too. Like when Jesus went on the Crusades and murdered gay people, or when the Jews conquered Canaan and then became big shot doctors and charged everyone an arm and a leg just for a lousy checkup. So really, when you think about it, it's Jews and Christians who are the evil ones and Muslims who are nice. Except for the whole jihad slaughtering and raping people thing, which is very spiritual for the Muslim. For everyone else, it's just being killed and raped, also known as jihad. J is for jihad. I'm Andrew Klavan with the Lefties Dictionary.
Somehow they're not covering this series in the mainstream media. I don't know what it is, what they don't like. You know what's great, however? I can't believe that people at the Daily Wire put this stuff out. What's wrong with them? What is wrong with those people? You know what is great, though, is honey. I love this thing. This is so easy and saves you so much money without even thinking about it. I don't know why everybody doesn't do it. I mean, all you do, it takes like about 2 seconds. It's a free shopping tool that automatically searches the internet for the best promo codes every time you buy something online. So you sign up, it takes a couple of clicks, and it takes a couple of clicks. It has saved listeners of this podcast on average $34 a piece. I mean, I know, but it happens right away. It takes 2 clicks. I put it on. I went on Amazon and started shopping things. My own books were discounted. It's just stuff you wouldn't know if you didn't have this thing. It just finds the little coupons that you wouldn't know were even there, and it gives you a deal. And I've gotten books on it. I've gotten all kinds of stuff. It is just great. It is a money-saving shopping tool that everyone can agree on, and you can get honey for free. There's nothing to it. Join honey.com/Andrew. That's joinhoney.com/Andrew. joinhoney.com/Andrew. It's the easiest way to save money while shopping online. So the other thing that I've talked about that the press does, besides just out and out lying, is they take snapshots of a moving train. We're always, situations are always developing, always changing. And what they're always doing is looking for that moment that they can freeze so that they can attack Trump. So when NAFTA was going on, remember, the Canadians were left out, and he kept saying, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. And they kept saying, look, he's leaving the Canadians out. It's all bogus. It's all fake. And then the Canadians came to the table. It was a moving negotiation. Well, now we've got this Khashoggi thing. Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist, the Washington Post columnist, who seems to have been murdered in Turkey in the Saudi consulate. And it's still developing, and the press is using this to hammer Trump. He doesn't care. All he cares about is the money because we have arms deals. This is not true. First of all, the thing is getting more and more complex. As we understand more about who Khashoggi is, it really does seem that he was kind of in with the Saudi royal family. Plus, he was a supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood. And the problem is, in the Middle East, things are complex, that he believed that the Muslim Brotherhood was a force for democracy, which is probably true. It is probably true that the Muslim Brotherhood is a force for democracy. When the force for democracy in your region is the Muslim Brotherhood, you're not ready for democracy. It's simply that true. The Muslim Brotherhood is a radical Islamist, non-secular, theocratic group, terrorist group. And if they're your democracy, that's not what you want. Meanwhile, you've got this guy, MBS, they call him, Mohammed bin Salman, who is now the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, who's clearly kind of a bumbling, he wants to be the glorious kind of reformer, but also the authoritarian. He wants to fix the economy. He's really doing a bad job of it. So now there is a report, at least in the Wall Street Journal, that what they're going to say is that that Khashoggi died during an interrogation. It's like they killed him accidentally while they were trying to kill him. He accidentally died while we were trying to kill him. That's basically what they're going to say, because they're now stuck, right? They need us too. We need them. It's not just the money. I know Trump emphasizes that, but it's not just the money. The Iranians are carving out territory from themselves. The Erdogan in Turkey is also a fan of the Muslim Brotherhood. He's trying to bring back the Ottoman Empire with a distinct Islamist flavor. We need the Saudi Arabians. So what we have to do is we have to play it tough with them, but we don't want to blow up the relationship. That's what it comes down to. We have to be tough with them. We can't allow them to get away with this, but we don't want to blow up the relationship. So Trump is outside talking to the press. He has sent Pompeo over, Secretary of State over, which is the right thing to do. Here he is talking to the press, telling him what he's working on.
I've asked Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to immediately get on a plane, go to Saudi Arabia, go to other places if necessary, which he probably will. But with regard to this, go to Turkey if necessary. The king told me that Turkey and Saudi Arabia are working hand in hand very closely on getting to the bottom of what happened. So we'll see what happens. But Mike Pompeo is leaving literally within an hour or so. He's heading to Saudi Arabia. We are going to leave nothing uncovered. With that being said, the king firmly denied any knowledge of it. He didn't really know. Maybe, I don't want to get into his mind, but it sounded to me like maybe these could have been rogue killers. Who knows? We're going to try getting to the bottom of it very soon. But his was a flat denial.
So obviously, Trump always likes to get along with his people. He always wants to be in these relationships. He talks about his love for Kim Jong-un in North Korea. It seems even our intelligence is sort of saying that they sent people over to kill this guy. It is completely unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable, but it's going to be complex. So Trump is doing the right thing in delaying for now. Lindsey Graham, who has always been a big hawk and always been a supporter of Saudi Arabia because he knows how important they are to us in the region, he's coming down pretty hard. And I think the stuff that he's saying, he's going after the crown prince. He's saying the crown prince, we should focus on getting rid of him, not breaking up our relationship with Saudi Arabia.
Nothing happens in Saudi Arabia without MBS knowing it.
Who's MBS?
He's the 33-year-old crown prince who jumped over other people. He's the son of the existing king, and I think he's on a bad track. I can never do business with Saudi Arabia again until we get this behind us.
Right. And what does that mean?
That means I'm not going back to Saudi Arabia as long as this guy's in charge.
So you're saying the Crown Prince has to leave?
It's up to them, but I'm not going back. I've been their biggest defender on the floor of the United States Senate. This guy is a wrecking ball. He had this guy murdered in a consulate in Turkey, and to expect me to ignore it, I feel used and abused. I was on the floor every time defending Saudi Arabia because there's a good ally. There's a difference between a country and an individual. The MBS figure is, to me, toxic. He can never be a world leader on the world stage.
So this is the way these guys have to talk, the senators have to talk. They have to come down hard on this. This is a real thing. But all I'm saying about this is, now that you know, I mean, I know the people who are listening to this know, but now that you know that basically the mainstream media is simply running a scam. That's all they're doing. They're running a pro-Democrat scam. When you're watching this story develop, and it's a big story, and it's an interesting story, and a lot is riding on it, just remember that things are much more complicated than even Lindsey Graham is saying. I mean, he knows that this is a very delicate, difficult situation. I don't know if they're going to get rid of the Crown Prince. I don't know what they're going to do. We're not going to let them, I don't think we can let them get away with this kind of murder of a guy who had a green card. He was an American resident. He was a resident American journalist. We do not want this happening. But we also have to know this is a complex relationship, a complex area, and we don't want to blow things up. So actually, I think Trump is kind of doing the right thing. He's doing it in his usual blustering way. But I think he will get to the right end once Pompeo finds out what the hell was going on. You know, talking about all the things you get when you are a subscriber. I mean, we're just giving stuff away. It's absurd. It is absurd. We're giving you another kingdom. We're giving you the conversation later today. And then on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we've got another Daily Wire backstage with the one and only Ben Shapiro, the likewise one and only God King Jeremy Boring. It's not like there's two of him. Me, there's several of me, but I'll be there by myself. And Elisha Krauss. We might even let Michael Knowles come in, but I don't know. So here's the thing. We'll take questions, but only from Daily Wire subscribers, so make sure to become a Daily Wire subscriber today. You know who we've got coming up? We've got Nick Searcy, the director of Gosnell, the trial of America's biggest serial killer, which has a screenplay written by me, story and screenplay written by me, and Nick was the director, and he also turns in a terrific performance in it, as well as Dean Cain and Alfonso Rachel and the whole cast. So anyway, stay tuned for that. But first, we got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. Come on over to dailywire.com and subscribe for just all this stuff. So much stuff. Just 10 lousy bucks a month, 100 lousy bucks a year. What were you doing with it anyway? Come over to dailywire.com and subscribe.